Like most people going into a hackathon, we had no idea what we were going to do. We wanted to make a game with Unity, but do something that we had never done before. So we started off by listing all of the games that we had never made before. We also wanted something unique to make our game stand out from all of the others. Eventually we landed on something that stuck. We wanted to mess with perspective. We thought, how could we do this? What if we move the camera instead of the player? In Unity, we created a simple enum to store where the camera would be located and set a default value. Next, in our script's update loop, we would check whether or not the E or Q key was pressed to rotate the camera, and to do that we would look at where it currently was and then simply set its position based on where the player is located in the world. After a bit of trial and error, it worked pretty well. Next, we wanted the player to always face the camera no matter where it was located. To do this, we created a static class variable to get the camera's position in a different script. From there, we simply rotated the player appropriately. The result was something that didn't look too bad. Next, we wanted to give the player movement, but only in the horizontal direction. This was a bit difficult because depending on where the camera is located, you move along a different axis and direction. The end result was something like this. Now it was at this point that we began to have a slight existential crisis. We didn't really know what we were building, and we were about as far as we could go without making a hard decision. We knew that we needed an environment, so we settled on procedural generation. We started off by creating a 16 by 16 grid. We wanted something maze-like, but having small corridors didn't seem like it would fit our gameplay. We took the idea of generating a maze from an old Atari game, Berserk. As you can see, to call it a maze is sort of a stretch, but it actually works surprisingly well. At this point, we didn't quite have all of our sprites done, but you can see how the 3D world translates into the 2D world. Now the code to make it render correctly in 2D was actually rather intensive, and it went through a lot of rewrites before we found something that was suitable. The fact that we pretty much had to write the code 4 separate times for each perspective made it rather time intensive. Essentially how it works is we would first deactivate every single cube and then reactivate the ones we need. Determining the ones that we actually needed was a bit difficult though. We did this for 2 separate rows to give the illusion of depth. With that, all of our core mechanics were done and we just needed one more thing to do: make the game not so boring. This gave us our final project.